Hello. Happy, what day of the week is it today? Thursday?
Thursday?
Guys, what's super neat is that we're in my house in my living room right now with Tommy. How cool is this?
It's nice to see your house. Nice place.
Thank you, dude.
I love this.
Thank you.
Kitchen's amazing.
Thanks.
Backyard's amazing.
Thank you. This island is 20 feet long.
I love it.
And you know what? Behind me, there's doors in that wall. You see that? We got hidden doors. Pretty cool, right? Welcome to this incredible opportunity to sit down with my beautiful friend Tommy here. We're going to go over some business structure. And again, guys, the reason that we do this is because of the incredible mistakes that I've made in my growth as a wholesaler, in my growth in real estate, and all of the lessons that I've learned. Today I'll share with you guys a struggle that I'm having, right? It's actually, it's a great struggle to be having, but I put a property under contract that I now have an opportunity to assign for, a multi-million-dollar exit. And, my boy Pace is in on the deal with me. And we've been going back and forth about it today because he says to me, Jamil, you could assign this deal and you could make, a couple $1,000,000. And, I would share that with him because we're doing the deal together. But he says, what would you do with the money? Right. And you are so inefficient right now with your taxes that if you don't take this property down and actually use the depreciation and put yourself in a better spot, you are going to continue to get hosed by the IRS, and to the tune of probably over $1 million this year, right? And so, of course, you guys have been helping me out, and I got my LLC structure set up. I've got some corporate credit that you guys hooked me up with. So you guys have really helped me change my situation. And thankfully for you, I've put that property under contract in the name of the LLC that you guys set up for me. So, and that's where I've been taking a lot of my income. So I know now moving forward, I'm going to be able to really minimize my tax liability and my tax burden, which is fantastic. Right now, though, there's a lot of new astro flipping students that have come into my world. And, they're asking themselves the question, what do I need to do to make sure that I protect myself from possibly, a situation, we live in America, people sue each other here. How do I protect myself from liability? How do I protect myself from massive tax burdens and tax implications? And then the next thing is, how do I provide myself with enough liquid capital to actually do this business at a high level? So I teach people how to work primarily with relationships with agents and as well as wholesalers and other lead generation techniques. But, for me, agent outreach is one of my most favorite ways to get a deal. And the reason being is when you go direct to agent, what ends up happening is you are essentially getting the deal direct to seller. There's just an advocate in the middle, making sure that all the paperwork and all that is going well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so working direct to agent is beautiful because you build the relationship with the agent, not the homeowner.
Right.
When you go direct to seller, what ends up happening is you can make a relationship, build rapport with the seller, and then once you get that deal under contract and that deal is done, guess what? There's no more business with that seller.
Right.
When you do a relationship or build a relationship with an agent and you do a deal with an agent, guess what happens after you do one deal? Multiple deals. And that can happen over and over and over again. And it does, right? And you can build relationships with realtors that can make you millions of dollars. The hard part is, though, is that when you are working with a realtor, they're going to require you to come up with sometimes some substantial money for earnest deposit.
Yep.
And so I want to ask the 130, 40 people that are on the live right now, how many of you guys have run into a situation where you don't have access to EMD? $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in EMD. Just to give me a little message in the chat here that says, I've run into that situation. I haven't had EMD. So having access to earnest money is an important part of doing deals, right?
Game changer.
100% it's a game changer, right? And so like, yeah, we've got people saying me, every time. Like, so this is a true, and Mike still hasn't gotten his first deal, but when you do get your first deal, Mike, if you are going direct to agent, you're going to see that this is going to be a problem. This is going to be something that you are going to need to work with, right? And so, Tommy, first and foremost, welcome.
Thank you. I'm in your house. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's amazing.
I'm excited to talk about this today because I'm really, really, really interested in equipping my friends and my students and the community on a very logical approach to tax efficiency,
yep,
liability efficiency, and access to capital.
Yep.
So walk us through that, Tommy. How can you help us get over the hump with these situations?
I love it. Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and we're going to continue. We're going to do more of these. We're going to keep them going, and just for the entire community as well. As you want more information, or if you want me to come with more information on what we do, from everything Jamil just said, let us know, and we can take a deep dive on everything that we need as well. One thing I love about you, I got to say this. Remember you told the story a couple months back when I was on one with you, and you were talking about how you accidentally bought one of your condos with an LLC, and that was the one you were able to hold on to.
Yeah, that's how I saved that's actually what saved our butt from, the financial downturn in 2008. Holding that one condo in the LLC we didn't lose it when we lost everything else.
I love that. What you accidentally did, now you're doing on purpose.
Yes.
Very, very impressive.
Correct.
But we want everyone to do that. And the reason I bring that up is just Jamil's so awesome at helping you understand from, like he says, some of the mistakes that he's made along the way. And if you're just getting started, it's so important to make sure that you're still structured properly. Some of you may have even heard me say this by now, but structure the business for the one that you want, not the one that you have, right? A lot of you probably already are working with us. I see quite a few of you that are. And those of you that are, that we're going to talk to you about the benefits of having the privacy, having the additional protection, right? Delaware, Nevada, Wyoming, they have the additional privacy and the additional protection to where we don't want someone showing up, a disgruntled tenant, and knocking on your door, right? We want you to be protected. We want to separate the personal and the business. And it takes time to build business credit, right? If someone was to tell you when you were 16 years old, listen, I'm going to teach you how to have an 800 credit score by the time you're 21, right? By the time you're 18, whatever that looks like. When you're 16, you don't really care. But as a business owner, we want to do the same thing for the business. If you can build an excellent credit profile and allow yourself the ability to use business credit,
right?
Let the business pay for itself and then pay yourself from there. You're not only going to stay much more organized, but that's how you're truly going to separate that liability, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking at it from a liability perspective, right? So, my house, okay, I own the house outright. And I'd say today it's probably worth about $2.5 million. And I own it in my personal name.
I believe it.
Right?
Seems low, honestly. It's nice. It's a beautiful place.
How would I structure my situation right now so that I could protect my home and protect, my family from litigious idiots?
Yep, for sure. So there's one thing that you'll learn as everyone works with us as well is we want you to be comfortable. I see a lot of people in the chat that are talking about being overthinkers, the whole analysis paralysis, right? That's a huge thing. And if you're structured properly and if you have the protection, then what you're allowing yourself the ability to do is give yourself that peace of mind, especially for the overthinkers. Everyone should make sure they're protected and have the tax benefits. But to Jamil's question of how do I protect myself with assets that I own, especially assets that I own free and clear?
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to take it to that next level of total estate planning. Right? A lot of you may know we do estate planning as well. We have estate plan attorneys, and they'll help with the trust, the will, the living will, the power of attorney. Obviously, your house is in Arizona, and the best way to avoid probate is through a living trust
Right.
in Arizona. So not only does that give you the additional privacy and protection, but we're going to separate that from all of your businesses and all your income streams as well.
So, like, just say, for instance, something happens to me, right? Can I put my house in a living trust and stipulate that my wife's future boyfriend can't live here?
We can do that. Absolutely.
But no, is that a thing though? Like you can,
Oh,
like you
yeah.
can create terms and conditions on how your estate gets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. One of, matter of fact, this is on the opposing side, but one of my good friends' girlfriends cannot get married for another 7 years. There was a stipulation based off of when she gets money, how she gets money, and making sure that she
She's
doesn't get
watching.
married
She's
for another 7 years.
she's laughing her butt
Natty,
off
is
at
that
me.
you?
That's
It's not
her.
Natty.
Yeah.
I can confirm it is not Natty, but it's a funny story.
No, that's my Natty. She's laughing because I said, "Hey, how do I make sure that her future boyfriend doesn't live here?"
Sorry about that, Natty. Hey, Natty, I'll tell Jamil that I'll do it, but I got you. Another thing with the estate planning and the trust and the wills and the living wills, it's not only about that death benefit. There's a lot of additional privacy and protection that those things can offer, where the living trust can have ownership of that holding company in Delaware, Nevada, or Wyoming. And then the holding company can own the subsidiaries, right? So you have Astro, the deal you're doing currently, any wholesale deals. Another thing that I'll make everyone aware of is oftentimes we get asked, can I just use one LLC for all my deals? Can I run all of my real estate transactions?
Bad idea, right?
I don't love it. You can do it. But the reason I don't recommend that is if you have long-term passive income, that's the goal. We want to get to the passive income because the tax rates are much lower.
Right.
Active income, wholesaling, separate those two. We don't want to intermingle more liability than we have to.
Got it. So, for instance, I wholesale under Keegley Holdings, right? I buy my multifamily under Hunter Mill. I receive income under Jamil Damji LLC. But if I was to buy multiple multifamily buildings, would you suggest that putting all of them in Hunter Mill is probably a bad idea?
Absolutely. I mean, what we have to really look at is what are your liabilities, right? And the more equity you have in a deal, the more that we want to make sure that's separate. You can have multiple doors in one LLC, but let's look at what that liability looks like. If something happens to one property,
Right.
we don't want them to be able to come after another.
So I have to. I'm actually going to need to get back in with you guys and open a new LLC probably tomorrow.
Let's do it
so that we can make sure that I don't put myself or my new project in a bad situation.
We gotcha.
I love it. So, Tommy, for everybody that's new here, what can PCS offer with respect to making sure that they're optimizing themselves, and what would be the next step? Okay, so we've got upwards of 160 people on the live right now. A lot of them already look to be PCS clients, which incredible. Brad Hulkman, guys, that's like a VIP. This is like the executive producer at A&E. He's my boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the guy who makes my. There he is. Seeing that, Brad? There he is, Brad Hulkman. This
What's
guy,
up, Brad?
He's incredible. Okay, this is a man who not only oversees like 16 television shows, he is a fireman.
Wow.
He is a wholesaler. He's learned how to do real estate transactions because he's so committed. He's so committed to understanding what his talent do.
It's amazing
that he used to be on TV shows that were following firemen, right? So what does he do? He becomes a fireman. Now he's working with Pace and I, and what does he do? He starts learning about wholesaling and creative finance. Like that's how dedicated this individual is to understanding the world of the people that he puts on television. So, Brad, you're awesome, and you guys are helping him with an LLC.
Cool, awesome, Brad. I feel like you'll enjoy this quick story that has nothing to do with anything, but my dad actually owned a real estate brokerage for a long time and was a firefighter. That was his dream and goal and everything. And as soon as he became a firefighter, he was running errands with the sirens on. and someone asked where the fire was, and there wasn't one. So he got fired like 2 weeks in.
No.
But he claims it's the best thing that ever happened to him because it forced him into real estate. But Brad, I hope you didn't do that as well.
I don't think he gets to drive the fire truck.
No?
No, but I watched him climb up a ladder the other day and it terrified me.
Oh, that's great. But for those of you that are new, as most of you know, everyone gets a free consultation, right? That's the first thing that we need to do. If we can help, great. If we can't, that's okay as well. But as long as you're leaving that 45-minute to hour consultation, knowing more about your own situation, that's what it's all about. If you're already structured and you want to review what you already have in place, if you need additional things, if you're buying multifamily units once a week and continue to need LLCs, we got you.
Got it. So now that we kind of understand that the process is getting through a consultation and really diving in. So you guys are diving into everything. Do I need to have paperwork ready when I come up to that call? Do I need to have my tax returns? Do I need to have anything? Or can I just show up to that call and will you guide me as to what I need to be looking at?
Yeah, going into the phone call, what I would recommend for everybody is you're gonna have one designated representative, right? So we want you to be able to call and email and have someone long-term that understands your situation moving forward. I think that's important. But from the very beginning, just tell them where you are, right? Some of these things can be extremely overwhelming if you are brand new. And if you're brand new, tell them, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm super green. Take it easy on me. Explain it to a third grader, and we can do that. But for some of you that may be a little bit more advanced, let us know how many entities you already have in place. Maybe you already have 3 or 4 LLCs. Maybe you already have an S corporation. Maybe you've already built business credit. That's okay as well. Just let us know up front so that you can get the most value out of that call. Other than that, they'll take care of you and make sure that you know what you need to be aware of.
Can you tell me on average what the cost of setting up an LLC is?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the cost, so if you have a couple different ways that you can set up an LLC, right? You can do it yourself.
Yep.
You can hire an attorney.
Yep.
You can use us or something like a LegalZoom or something along those lines. But I think the beauty of working with us is we're familiar with your business. We're familiar with what you're teaching. We're familiar with real estate in general. You will have to pay, obviously, the state fees, filing fees, the hard costs that you would have to pay regardless. But as opposed to paying an attorney $1,000, $1,500, you still get everything A to Z. And every state's a little bit different. Usually on average, you're going to be about $300 to $600 for all the state and filing fees and making sure that it's actually legally prepared. You actually have an operating agreement, articles of incorporation, everything you need to go open up your business bank account and use it long term.
So I want to do something for the people that are watching today's live.
Let's do it.
Okay. For everybody that books a consultation today, if you sign up and get an LLC set up, it's going to be, he said, $600 to what?
$300 to $600.
$300 to $600. I am going to pay for 3 of those.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to cover that out of my own pocket, but you had to have signed up to book your consultation today. You don't have to get an LLC. If you decide, hey, I don't need an LLC right now, that's fine. But if you book your consultation with PCS tonight, I think that's a pretty good ratio. 3 out of the 160 of you that are on, I will cover your LLC fee. Does that expose me or them to any liability for me covering the fee?
No, absolutely not. They're going to be the owners. You're just going to be paying for it.
Okay, great.
How about this? I'll pay for 3 as well. Let's do
Whoa!
that. Let's do it. Let's
6.
double it up.
We're giving away 6 companies today, guys.
Let's go.
6 freaking companies. Steve Harward is over here, and I literally just saw him tense up. He's just like, I'm just kidding. Actually, if you guys want to know, this company is probably one of the most generous companies when it comes to just being supportive of the people that they work with. I mean, I have never been more loved by a partner And the beauty about what you guys provide is that it's so necessary to the people that are learning what we do.
It's things you need regardless.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like an LLC is a useless tool. It's not like an LLC is something that is going to harm people. It's necessity, guys. This is absolutely important for you to have. Like, you need to protect yourself from liability.
Everyone in America should have some sort of a side hustle, some sort of a side business. I can't tell you how many Uber drivers I've set up their businesses for them because they think that they're just 1099 and making money. DoorDash, Grubhub, any of these side hustles, these gigs, especially, there's so many more tax benefits within the tax code for entrepreneurs and investors than there are for individuals.
Right.
Everyone should have a side hustle. And at some point, as you start generating more income, we can crawl before we walk by having an LLC in place. And then once you're making $50,000 to $100,000 or more, we can look at changing that over to an S corporation where you can start paying yourself a salary or a distribution. And it also allows you to avoid half of your self-employment tax, Medicare, Social Security. So 7 to 8% savings. It really adds up. It's real estate. Any business is a game of percentages. And the more that we can continue to knock down that tax bill and keep more money in your corner, the easier it is to grow and scale.
So this is a great question. Paul Nelson, one of my favorite guys, asked, Tommy, if we have 3 LLCs already for wholesaling in 3 different states, what would you recommend as the next step? So to give you some context, Paul does business in 3 different states. He's in Tennessee, he's in Colorado, and he's in Arizona. And so he has been advised to have an LLC in each of those states, right? Okay. Because he doesn't want to be operating as a foreign entity in other states.
Makes sense.
So guys, if you are doing business in Arizona and you have an Arizona LLC, you don't want to be wholesaling from that Arizona LLC in LA, right? You're going to be a foreign entity in California, and there's going to be all kinds of implications. Can you talk to that a little bit? Like, what kind of complications and situations are you putting yourself in if you do try to conduct business as a foreign entity in another state?
Yeah. You have to pay taxes in the state that you generate the income, right? I think a good example is if we were to take a basketball player, an NBA basketball player, for instance, they have to pay taxes in the states that they play those games. So in this scenario where you already have the 3 different entities, I think a great way to go about it is if you don't have a holding company, we could have a holding company out of a Delaware, Nevada, or Wyoming once again, and have the holding company own those other 3 entities.
What's the purpose of a holding company?
Just to make sure that you have the privacy and the protection. If someone was looking you up, we want them to see that it's owned by a company, not by Paul, I believe you said his name was.
Yeah. Paul's awesome. Yeah.
It didn't even say his name and you knew who it was.
Yeah. I mean, so would you say that if you are doing business without an LLC that you're a jabroni?
I would definitely say that's jabroni is a phenomenal word for that person.
Okay. Because Joel just asked, he says, a lot of people have advised me to do my first deal before opening an LLC. What do I think? And I would say that would make him a jabroni.
He's not a jabroni. He'll get that fixed.
I love you, Joel. It's just, I'm trying to,
and just so you know why as well, just to elaborate on that a little bit, there's additional deductions when you're starting a business. You can show a loss 2 out of your first 5 years in business. It costs money to do stuff. It costs money to run businesses, right? Take your startup expenses, take your organizational expenses, and also don't be
a jabroni. Yeah.
Sean
has a great question here. Hey, Jamil and Tommy, question for you. I have an LLC through PCS for wholesaling, and I'm also a realtor. Can I funnel my commissions along with my assignment fees through my one LLC, or should I separate it? Sean, you need a PLLC as well. I'm sorry. I just said that out of turn, but Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Separate them. The liabilities are different. The income levels are different.
The taxation is different too, right? Because he's going to be taxed differently as a PLLC than he's going to be taxed as an LLC. Because
Also,
commissions is a different tax rate than ordinary income, right?
have two separate bank accounts as well. So you truly know your profit and loss at the end of the year for each of them, right? Having that organization, it's beautiful from a liability standpoint to separate those. But yes, a lot of states, to Jamil's point, when you're a realtor, you have to have a PLLC with your realtor number on there within the documents. And those are things we can make sure to take care of all that for you as well.
Absolutely, Paul. Set up that holding company. It's super important. A lot of you
Awesome.
guys are saying that this live today was absolutely well timed because you're in the process of, and the reason why we're going to continue doing this every couple of weeks, guys, is on average I've got about 50 to 70 new astro flipping students a week joining the program. We're absolutely exploding, right? So many people are finding us, and our community is growing, and they're watching all the results of people making deals and making money, and they're watching the testimonies and all that thing, and they're like, I need to be a part of this, right? Or they join sub 2 and they've got the exact same situation. And so whether or not you're in sub 2, whether or not you're in astro flipping, it doesn't matter to me, guys. We both, Pace and I both, absolutely adore the guys over at PCS because they are literally providing an extremely useful utility to people. And for me, I love anybody who loves on my people.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's the key for me. So now we understand that you want to separate your income. Is there another efficiency that you can help the new folks that are watching right now that are just getting started in wholesaling? Is there another efficiency that you can give us as a tip or a trick for us to minimize our taxation or find ways to maybe write stuff off, like
Sure.
possibly your fees that you spent on a course?
Absolutely. If you've invested money, it's ordinary or necessary for your business, like research and development, training, education. Those are expenses that we want to track to make sure they're 100% deductible at the end of the year. Now, there are additional deductions that we like to call anyways expenses, bills that you're going to pay regardless. Your phone bill, internet bill, power bill, portions of the rent or the mortgage, the secret hideaway door over here leading to the office.
Yep.
We don't want to raise a red flag, but we don't want to overpay from a tax standpoint as well. So
Correct.
understanding what you can and cannot deduct is important. But if I was to give everyone two pieces of advice from a tax standpoint, three, let's do three pieces of advice. Number one, track your expenses. I don't care if you charge everything to one business card, QuickBooks, an app on your phone, whatever you're most comfortable with, and you're going to commit to continuing to do it. Organize your expenses.
Guys,
Number two,
they did that exact thing for me. They showed me how to track my expenses by opening up one LLC, and then got me business credit in that one LLC. So now everything that I'm purchasing that's business related, I'm doing on that I can't tell you how much brain damage you saved me by just that one piece of advice.
I was like, get rid of the shoebox full of receipts.
Bro, the shoebox full of receipts, and I've been using my ATM card everywhere. Like I go to the gas station, I swipe my ATM, I put in my PIN number. And you know how many times I've been defrauded? You know how many times I've had to like reset my primary bank account because people skim my card or they make a fake card and then they register to Steve's OnlyFans.
That's the moneymaker. Steve and I, all jokes aside, Steve and I always talk about this where like if someone's in front of you at a gas station and they're using cash or a debit card, it's like, give me that cash. Let me get the reward points, right? Get the reward points, save the money and the interest, organize the expenses. Once you do it and you understand it, it becomes just part of who you are. It becomes part of your day-to-day. And we want to be a part of helping everyone understand how to do that. The other thing that's amazing about credit cards nowadays is at the end of the year, you can get a full statement breakdown of where you're spending your money. So throughout the year, our team of professionals with the tax side, we want to go into the fourth quarter and say, Jamil, you had a killer year. Again, congratulations. Either you're going to pay X amount of dollars to the IRS, you're going to pay 10,000, 100,000, 500,000, whatever the situation is. It could be $1,000, or you can invest it into your business, make sure it's a deductible expense, either put it into your own retirement, put it back into your business, or throw it off a bridge. I don't care, but you make that decision as opposed to just paying it in taxes.
How did you get so smart at this?
Steve.
Steve taught you?
Steve taught me everything I know.
I mean, guys, just so you understand, like you are like the average of the 5 people you hang out with, right? And let me just say that Steve is one of our friends and he's got a jet. Like, I mean, get yourself a homie with a jet. And here's the thing, right? If you sign up with Prime Corporate Services, you have a homie with a jet.
That's a good point, actually.
You actually have a homie with a jet. Like you could get on the phone with Steve Harward and you could be like, "Hey, you have a jet?" "Yes." "Can we be friends?" "Yes."
He's a nice guy.
Now one of the 5 people that's in your circle has a jet. Steve, come here.
People are asking for you. Come give him a wave.
People want to see him.
The man, the myth, the legend.
This is Steve Harward, guys. This is the owner of Prime Corporate Services. He's the dude, man. This guy's the GOAT. He's one of the he's one of the reasons why you know, we are so blessed, and why Pace and I are so like dedicated to you, because like you are one of the nicest people, but like we know where your heart is, right? Like you get to understand why people do what they do, right? And I know your why. I know why you do what you do. You do what you do because you genuinely give a crap. And so how did you learn this? How did you even get into this?
I mean, for me, it was in 2007. I moved to Los Angeles, and we were offering and selling these services.
Yes.
And me offering and selling these services and learning more about them while learning and making more money, I fell down this rabbit hole that there's not something in the marketplace teaching people that are just getting started or at a mid-level and understanding asset protection and tax mitigation. And from there, it just snowballed and led to starting multiple companies. And here we are now.
Wow. And can I share who with your other business partner is?
Sure.
So if you guys are familiar with who Roland Frazier is, this guy is like a GOAT in business in general. He puts on traffic and conversions. He's one of the owners of acquisition.com, right? Roland Frazier is one of the most prolific individuals in the world of mergers and acquisitions. Like this man is one of those people that, like, if you've ever heard of what a leveraged buyout is, I mean, this guy invented the playbook on how to buy and sell businesses, on how to obtain credit from businesses you haven't even bought yet. Like this man is an incredible genius when it comes to that. How much of Roland's expertise flows into PCS?
Oh, all the time, every day. He's actually just texting with me right now as I was standing up here. He's been a big part for the last 12 months, but we also have, outside of Roland's gasoline and taking us to the next level, it's the crew and the foundation of Prime that we have originally there that really got us here. But back to your point on, who your top 5 friends are and who your circle is, that's who you ultimately become. And I've put myself in a position to be in the right rooms with the right people, and Roland being one of them. And the question I ask myself is every time I'm with him, do I level up?
Right.
Am I a better person? Am I a better business owner? Like, do I want to reach higher? And the answer is yes. And so that's what I've done, is surround myself with him and try to spend as much time as I can with him.
So somebody just swiped right on you.
Swiping right. I'm on, what am I on? Tinder?
I mean,
is this Jamil Danji?
Are you single, Steve?
I am actually single. Yeah.
He's married to the game. He's married to Prime Corporate for every one of you.
So Laura, yes, he's single and ready to mingle. But you're too busy to date, right?
Honestly, where I'm at, I got 2 little ones at home too. I got a little 4 and 5-year-old, and outside of running the business and where we're taking this, I've just put my head down, and we're hyper focused on the momentum that we have. And it really doesn't allow much time outside of business and my boys for much dating right now.
This is a great question from Samuel. How can PCS help me? I'm already a customer of PCS, so I love them. But my main problem is on the tax side and bookkeeping. Do you guys provide referral services to bookkeepers? Can you help out with that? Do you have an in-house service for bookkeeping?
Yes, I mean, the big thing about bookkeeping is it's a lot of work, right? And in order for it to be, it can be expensive because of it. So we do offer bookkeeping. We just only offer it to the people that truly need it. If you truly need it, get in contact with your representative and tell them that Tommy sent you. And maybe Samuel, if you need some additional advice there, I'm happy to even talk to you as well. There's also an app called Keeper Tax. It's really cool. It's you can attach all your credit cards, you can attach your bank accounts, and it starts to understand the way that you spend money and what you spend money on, and it organizes those business expenses for it. So if it's unsure, if we go to lunch, for instance, it'll text you and say, was that a business related meal? And you can just reply yes or no.
Get out of here.
And it organizes it. It's pretty slick. So Keeper Tax is what that one's called.
Keeper Tax.
If you need a full bookkeeper though, reach out to us and we'll make it happen.
Guys, is that available to anybody?
Yeah, but once again, we want to make sure that you're the right fit for it. You want to have enough transactions to justify the cost, because it can be $100 to $1,000 a month, depending on the transactions.
Bro, take my money, man.
It's a lot of work.
Take my money. I'm at $1,000 a month. I'm gonna write you 12 posted checks right now for $1,000. Take care of this shit. But again, you helping me out with that business credit card that now I track all my expenses on. And guys, you know, I've got pretty good credit. These guys got me $15K. What's the average that you guys can get for somebody that doesn't have, you know, squeaky clean credit like me?
It varies so much. I mean, people will start with $1,000. Some will start with 5,000. Some will start with 15, 20. But the goal is, and I know that's even grown since, as you start to build and develop that credit profile, it's a long-term play, just like your personal credit, right? But you'd rather leverage the business credit. You're okay with your business credit looking like a roller coaster,
For sure.
because you're lending money to make money.
Correct.
You sure don't want your personal credit to look like a roller coaster.
Heck no.
So we want to separate those two. But yeah, I think we got almost $3 million for our clients combined last month in business credit.
$3 million
Just
in
under
business credit.
2.8, 2.9, something like that.
I mean,
That's
you guys got to feel pretty good about that.
It was awesome.
How much will people be able to leverage that $3 million into more money? That's the thing, right? And guys, let me just say this right now. If you guys are applying for business credit, make me a promise right now that you're not going to go buy some dumb stuff with it, right? This is not so that you can go, you know, buy a trinket or, you know, go and get some clothes or, you know, get a different car. Like, please, guys, this is about your financial futures. This is about stability. This is about actually making forward progress in life, not getting into debt, right? The way that I look at debt is I'm happy to risk. Like, for instance, today I wrote a non-refundable earnest deposit on my building that Pace and I are buying. Okay. You want to know how much my non-refundable deposit was?
That was a lot.
$250,000 before I even got to walk the building. That's a big boy move.
That is very big boy stuff.
But let me tell you this, right? The $250,000 that I wrote, I knew that before I even wrote sent the wire, I knew I had a buyer at least $500,000 more on that building than what I was contracting it for. Towards the end of the day, we come to find we have a buyer at $2.5 million more than what we're contracted for. So was my $250,000 actually risked?
You could have had a casual $500,000 to $1 million day, and Pace wouldn't let you. That's a good friend.
That's a great friend.
I love that.
Yeah. In fact, he was yelling at me on the phone when I was telling him today that, hey, let's just wholesale it. He's like, Jamil, why? Why? You know, he keeps flaunting his tax return at me, right? And like laughing about the $750,000 that I'm writing that I paid the IRS, and he sends me his $3,200 refund, right? And you know, like Pace, I know how much money Pace makes. He does very well, like very well, right? And so for him to have gotten a $3,200 refund makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know that I'm really doing it wrong.
those are good problems to have. And it's the whole more money, more problems. But if you're set up properly from the beginning, it is so much easier to continue to grow and scale over time for sure.
Here's a great question. How do you handle or structure partnerships? Should they be set up in separate LLCs or operate under the same LLC, or, you know, work in, you know, creating operating agreements? Like, what's the best and cleanest way to do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think first and foremost, you want to understand how many deals you're going to be doing with them. Are they partners, or are you just doing a deal with them? If they're genuinely partners, we can set it up on the LLC and change the percentage of ownership, right? So it could be a 50-50 ownership. It could be 60-40, depending on what you're bringing. But if you're just doing deals together, I think it's a great idea for both of you to have your own separate entities and going in on the deal together with your entities separately, so that from a tax standpoint, protection standpoint, you're not married to them forever.
Let's talk a little bit about business credit, because people are, you know, wondering about it. How complicated is it? Like, say for instance, you're Bobby Two Hands, right? You're Bobby Two Hands, and you screwed up your credit.
Okay.
Do you have bad credit or good credit? Mediocre. Okay, mediocre at best.
Let's fix it. Let's get you great credit.
Okay, so say you're Bobby Two Hands, you got mediocre credit,
Okay.
right? Can he set up an LLC and basically be like a brand new baby?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can build business credit, no credit, bad credit, no problem. It is easier. Everything's easier if you have money and good credit.
Right.
That's the goal. That's what we want to do, is make sure that you have good business credit and put you in a position where you can, even if you're just getting started, it's broken up into tiers. It's like your personal credit, where it's hard to build it. It's super easy to ruin it, right?
Yes.
But it's just a process. It's not rocket science. Anyone can do it. We just have to make sure that you're applying the right way. You're getting some starter accounts that are, what we try and do is we try and get starter accounts that report on a monthly basis instead of a quarterly or an annual basis. So that way it inflates your score quicker to where you can open up the doors to start to get additional business credit cards like you got. And then eventually over time, some actual lines of credit. But business credit cards, I mean, 0% interest for 12 to 24 months. And like I said earlier, businesses cost money. The more that you use those lines of credit, the larger those lines will grow over time.
So you can help people get 0% interest for, say, 24 months at $5,000. Now, guys, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about infinite return, right? So you go and get business credit set up, and you get a $5,000 line, and you go and use that $5,000 towards earnest deposit on a deal. And, you know, 30 days later, that earnest deposit turns into a $15,000 assignment fee.
Right.
Okay. You didn't pay any interest on that.
And it can be from someone directly in the community as well.
Right.
Right. How many people said on there they didn't have the $2,000 for the earnest money?
I mean, you know, Pace talks about this as, you know, in his Gator lending, it's like I could literally set up a business just going and getting business credit and loaning out my business credit line to people to help them with earnest deposits. I mean, that's literally, I could say to them, hey, you know, I'm going to give you your $2,000 for your EMD on this deal. Give me 50% of your assignment fee.
Yep, for sure.
I mean, that would be an absolutely okay thing to do.
It's a win-win. Both sides win, right? That's, if someone in the community finds an awesome deal and doesn't have that $2,000, come within the community and say, I need the $2,000, squad up and do a deal together where both parties win. Everyone wins, right?
So great question here from Nicole. She asked, how soon are you able to get business credit? So if they come tomorrow and sign up on a call and they make an application for business credit, what's the typical turnaround? I remember mine happened really quickly, but what's the average turnaround?
Yeah, thank you for this. I always like to under promise and over deliver with everything, but business credit especially. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It does usually take 3 to 4 months until you have an established enough credit line to get some actual business credit cards. So I think 3 to 4 months is a realistic expectation. But once again, it's not rocket science. We've laid out the entire process. All you have to do is follow it and make sure that you don't mess it up, really.
Love it. Josh has a great question here. Can I loan myself money from my business credit to pay off my personal credit and then write that off as an expense? I mean, that sounds like one of the most gangster cup games I've ever heard of, Josh. I just don't know if it's legal. Is it?
If it's business related expenses, we do that. Yeah, that's totally do it. If you used a personal credit card for business related expenses, we want to track it for the taxes. And once we build up enough business credit, we can look at having a balance transfer from the personal card to the business card if it is business related. We, like Jamil said, don't have the stupid expenses, the personal expenses, but it's one more reason why we want to separate them as quickly as possible.
Would Jesse buying me hot wings qualify as a business expense?
Jesse, this is a fun question. So another tax tip is there are new tax tips that come out every year. And 2021, 2022, because of COVID, they say restaurants were impacted. So business meals went from 50% deductible to 100% tax deductible.
Damn.
So all the wings for spoiling Jamil and getting some real estate tips will be deductible. Yes.
Incredible. Guys, so just put that in your back pockets. The way to my heart is through my stomach, and the way into my stomach is through a wing. I love this. So do bank cards like MasterCard build credit, or should it just be straight up business credit?
Great question. MasterCards do, but here's what you need to be aware of. A lot of people will call me and they'll say, Tommy, why do I need to build business credit? I already have a credit card that has my business name on it, right?
Right.
But if you go into a bank and you say, I want a business credit card, they'll say, okay, great. What's your business name? What's your business plan? And what's your social security number? If your social security number is tied to that, it's really what's called a personal credit extension. It is still personally signed and guaranteed to you, right? So you have your legal name, your social, your credit score.
Right.
We want to do the same thing for the business. Let's make sure you have the business name, you have the EIN number, and we can build a paydex score, a separate credit profile to where you're not having to have that tied with your personal credit.
Wow.
So be aware of that. If you do feel like you have a business credit card, if it's still reporting on your personal credit, it's not a business credit card.
Sean had another question. Hey, Tommy, can you touch on vendor accounts to build your paydex score? And is a paydex score like a credit score?
Sure. Yeah. So the paydex score, it's like your FICO. It's a numerical score. It ranges. Your FICO's 300 to 850, right? Your paydex is similar. It's 1 to 100. 80 to 85 would be like you having a 750 to an 800. But we want to have those separate credit profiles. And the way to get to that are some of the vendor accounts. And with the business credit program that we've put together and that we offer, we'll teach you what vendors are best to report on a monthly basis. But make sure you don't mess that up. I mean, you've got Uline, Home Depot, Lowe's. There's so many different options depending on what you're going to be using it for and what you need based off the business you're running.
So Christopher said, man, I've been a jabroni for a minute, and what's been stopping him is the $800 fee in California. Is that a standard fee? Can he apply for credit to pay for that fee? I mean, is there a way that he can keep himself from jabroniism?
Christopher, the jabroni ends today. Schedule that appointment. Let's make it happen. But California does have the highest annual fee. There's a franchise fee that's $800 a year. Fortunately, a couple years ago, they changed it to where you can write off that $800.
Okay.
It used to not be tax deductible, but you can now not only write it off, but yes, you can use it with business credit. And it's the cost of doing business. I think they pay to keep the weather nice in San Diego with that $800.
I think so too. There's a question that asks, can I use my business credit from one business to transact in another?
Great question. Yes. A lot of times when we talk to people that have the holding company that owns the subsidiaries, a lot of times I'll recommend building the business credit off of the holding company so you can build the largest line of credit possible and lend to each business. So the holding company can lend to the transactional business, it can lend to the long-term buy and hold business, and then you can pay the holding company back and develop a much larger. I think it's better to have one large line of credit than multiple smaller lines of credit. And you also don't want to do multiple lines at once because you don't want to flag Dun & Bradstreet and have them shut anything down. So we'll teach you all that and we'll walk you through all that stuff.
What's the audit rate for your customers?
We have not had a face-to-face audit
Get out of here.
in the 10 years we've been here. Can we
knock on the woods? Yeah.
Knock on some wood, please. Yeah, we have not had a face-to-face audit in the 10 years we've been doing this.
Wow, dude.
If there's letters, there's always letters or there's always someone that's trying to challenge you. But part of our tax service, we handle all of that on your behalf.
I mean, honestly, that's an incredible track record because you being in business 10 years, the likelihood of getting audited for whatever reason is there. It just means like you guys should have had something. So you guys are so good at what you do that the IRS doesn't flag your files or they're not constantly, combing through your returns or anything like that. So what you guys are actually providing people is some protection as well, because they know if they've done their work with Prime Corporate, there's a high likelihood that it was done correctly.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. We don't want to raise red flags, but we don't want to leave money on the table. There's 72,000 pages of a tax code. It's the tax code. Brad says, let's play a game. The tax code is a game. And the better that we understand how to play the game, the easier it is to win. There's enough areas within the tax code that we don't have to do anything shady. We don't have to do anything ridiculous. Follow that tax code. And that's what we like to do.
So let's play the game. What does Tommy not know?
Oh, I don't know a lot of stuff.
Okay, I have one question.
Let's hear it.
Okay, what's Dwayne Johnson's credit score?
Dwayne Johnson's credit score is 767. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Is it possible? Is it possible to set up a time to speak to you directly?
I'm sure. I'm happy to talk to you. Can't talk to everybody, but I'm happy to talk to some.
So
I'm fairly busy, but I'm happy to talk to you. Sure.
There was another question here. Can we see Steve Harward's hands? No one asked, but thanks for doing that. Oh my God.
Some of the questions I'm seeing, I wouldn't be surprised. I think I've seen an OnlyFans comment in here.
You know what? You always got to know that when you're hanging out with me, there's going to be fun, right? Guys, business needs to be fun. We got to stay light. We got to be able to joke and laugh about the things that we're doing because, the fact is that this is a lifestyle, right? And if we can't joke and if we can't have fun with the people that we're living our lives with, then what's the point? This isn't a job, guys. This is a career. That's the thing. I was asked the other day, what will you do in retirement? I'm like, are you kidding me? You retire from shit you hate. Yep. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be like Robert Kiyosaki's crazy ass, and I'm going to keep going. You know what I mean? You guys, we had dinner last night with Robert, thanks to, Tommy and Steve. Pace and I had an opportunity to sit down and have dinner with the man. I mean, he's awesome. He's incredible.
That was fun.
It was super fun, but you get to see this man who's like enjoying life in this, in the golden years of his life. And he is living it up. I mean, he's enjoying life. He's enjoying his money. He's enjoying his mind. He's enjoying the thoughts he has. I mean, it's incredible.
75. And all he was talking about is what's next, what's coming, what he's going to do next.
I mean, come on, that's absolutely incredible. So guys, we are running out of time here. There you see a link, primecorporateservices.com/Jamil. That is where you go in order to sign up for a call with Tommy. You can ask questions about his dating profile, Steve's dating profile when you talk to Tommy. But really though, guys, take an opportunity to take advantage of this, right? Because it's silly if you are not staying tax efficient. It's silly if you put yourself in a situation that could make you pay more money than you are having to pay, than you should be paying. It's silly if you transact a deal and screw up and get your butt sued. These are silly things to do, right? Let's not be silly. Let's take the precautions. Let's put ourselves in situations that are signaling to the universe that we're serious about this business, but B, putting ourselves in a situation where we can actually win. And this is something I say a lot, right? If you've not done your first deal yet in this game, then you've missed the point, because your first deal is with yourself. Your first deal is with your own commitment to actually make this happen. Your commitment to say, I'm going to put in the work that's necessary and required in order for me to get the result which I'm looking for, which is financial freedom in the form of my business in real estate. You are not signaling to the universe, God, whatever binding force you want to call it, that you're serious about this if you have not even taken the time to set up an LLC. I'm sorry, but you're not real if you haven't set up an LLC. And so take the time, guys. Make yourself legitimate. Make yourself an actual business, and take advantage of Tommy and I's six.
We're doing six.
Three each. Hey, whoever was complaining about the $800 fee in California, one of those could be you, right? So take advantage, guys. Click on the link, primecorporateservices.com/Jamil. Schedule your call. Tommy, it's always so good to see you, bro.
Always is. We've been
Steve,
running into each other all the time.
It's always so good to see you. I genuinely love you guys. You're brothers to me, genuinely love you both. I think what you guys do is powerful, important, and I can't wait to continue blessing people and the domino effect of all the companies that we will be a part of creating, and all the millions of dollars that will be made because of the things that we do. So I appreciate you both for what you guys are bringing to the table.
Get me a business name. We got to get you another one going.
Love it. Everyone, do us a favor and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, do that, because it's cool. And then on top of that, also follow these guys on Instagram. They're on Instagram. What's your guys' IG?
Prime Corporate Services.
Okay, guys, go give them a follow on IG. They actually provide some pretty cool information on their IG, and then you can get a background look into their office and just get to see the human beings that these guys are, because they're all incredibly dope people. And it's important that we learn about the folks that we do business with. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to hang out. Thanks for coming to my home, guys. The next one will not be at my house. It'll be streaming somewhere, because, I can't imagine you're going to fly in here to do this every 2 weeks. It would be neat if you did, because you have a jet. But
maybe we should do one on the jet.
Oh, if you guys want to see us do one of these on a jet, let us know. Until then, everybody, take care, be cool, keep your LLCs clean, and go get your credit, baby.
No
We love you.
jabroni.